Okay, thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. It's 5:50. We have a few people on. We will go ahead and open it up to some questions for head coach Kurt Miller ahead of tonight's game versus the Las Vegas Aces. Connecticut is currently up 1-0 in this series. We'll go ahead and open up to some questions. Please raise your hand and I will call on you. Miles?
Hey, Coach. The first time or the last time you guys faced off against the Aces, you won that rebounding battle 44-26 and were +6 in the turnover differential. That combined to give you guys 26 more shot attempts than Las Vegas. How can you replicate those numbers tonight?
Yeah, I think the message has been obvious to our team that defense and rebounding is our calling card. And can you find ways to win when you may not have your A game offensively? We did a great job. We held them to one offensive rebound. Turnovers were relatively low, and therefore the big difference in shot attempts in that game was obviously the pivotal statistical category in that game and the outcome of that game. Rebounding is an effort thing. We know that Vegas is, obviously that's been talked about to Vegas also. Our two losses on the season, our two overtime losses, we've gotten out rebounded. So clearly the rebounding differential, the rebounding margin is a statistical, a stat that's played a big part in our wins and losses this year.
Thanks. And as of now, Jonquel Jones is leading the WNBA in rebounding at 10.5 per game. And is just 1 3-point make behind UNESCO and Whitcomb from New York for tops in the W in that category. She's 6th in scoring, top 15 in steals and blocks, 54% from the field. I know we ask a lot about the impact JJ makes, but just how much of a lift is it to game plan with her consistent impact on a nightly basis in all facets of the game?
Yeah, her versatility, you can play her inside and out with her shooting the three the way she is here early in the season. Makes it even more dangerous. So, have a lot of fun. You really can try to figure out and keep that versatility and try to figure out what they're trying to take away. If they try to take away the outside game, then you try to get her inside. If they're rotating hard to Bree Jones or they're not paying as much attention on the perimeter, you get her touches. So her versatility is great. She's always been, in my opinion, the best defensive rebounding player in the game at this time. She is a tremendous rebounder. It translated from her time in college when she led the nation in rebounding. She has consistently rebounded at the pro level, both here and internationally. It's not a surprise, again, that she's the lead leader or one of the league leaders every year. She is an elite defensive rebounder.
Thanks so much. Good luck tonight, Coach.
Anne-Marie? You're muted.
That's true. Coach, last time you faced Connecticut, you did not have Breon January available. What extra dimension does she, I know you've had it for the last few games, but what extra dimension does she give you versus the Aces?
Yeah, Bree January is a veteran that you can play on and off the ball offensively, so it gives us a second primary ball handler. You can move Jasmine Thomas off the ball. You can move Natisha Heidemann off the ball. So it's like playing with 2 point guards, and Bree January really thinks the game at the offensive end and tries to manipulate the matchups that we look at throughout the game that we feel we have an advantage. At the defensive end, still, always been one of the premier defenders throughout her entire career on the perimeter. You can really turn her loose on people. She is just absolutely one of the best defenders out there. And so she really brings that element of toughness to us defensively.
And then you also talked just before the game last time about unintended consequences, Heidemann getting more time with AT out. She was another one who was super impactful, not necessarily just statistically, against Connecticut and all season long. For Heidemann, what has been special about her for your squad this season, please?
Again, the unintended consequence of both Jasmine and Bree January being late or not at all in training camp was she was the leader. She was the leader of the entire camp. So gave her a lot of confidence coming into the season. She shot the ball well early in the season. It gives us an added dimension of a three-point shooter. Again, is a very talented, you could argue our best ball screen point guard in the middle of the floor. And so, she can shoot behind screens. She's crafty enough to get herself to the rim. And when she plays with a swag and a confidence level, she's clearly established herself as a real quality backup point guard in this league.
Thank you, Kurt.
Doug?
Sure. I was just curious if you've gotten a chance to speak with Liz since the last matchup and if you expect any sort of carryover into tonight. Kim Page.
I specifically have not talked to her agent. I'm assuming we'll talk before the start of the game tonight.
Thanks.
Alexa?
Hi, Kurt. I logged on a little late, so apologies if you already asked something along these lines, but you mentioned that on Sunday that the team's energy level was just kind of low, like with fatigue, given all the games. So I'm just curious over the last, yesterday, getting back into Connecticut and then preparing for the day, what you thought about their energy going into a big game tonight.
Yeah, obviously a big game tonight, our 9th game in 19 days to start the season. And that includes 4 Western Conference road games. So a brutal stretch out of the gate, these first 19 days. It was really nice to sleep in our own bed last night. It was nice that we arrived back from Minnesota, were able to have a short film session and get them out of here by 3 o'clock. So they had their own time for dinner. It was great to be able to sleep in our own bed. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We have a day off tomorrow before we start to prepare for our next game, which is New York. So, finally out of this brutal stretch that knew we were playing 9 games in the first 19 days of the season. So I think you're going to see a great effort out of us against, a really, really well-coached and talented team tonight. It should be a great battle. Both teams are a little thin. With roster, they're going with 9 tonight and a newly added player. We'll go with 10. So, you're going to see heavy minutes, regardless of how many games both our teams have played early in this season. You're going to see heavy minutes out of those top 6 or 7 players on both sides.
Carolyn, do you have a question? Okay.
Yes, Kurt. Again, Brianna Jones going against the size of the Aces had 19 points in their first meeting. Can you just talk about how she has blossomed through the experience that she had last season and carrying it on this year?
Yeah, that unintended consequence again. Bubble season, JJ opts out for COVID reasons, gives Bree Jones the opportunity to really shine in the bubble. Continue to build her confidence. She's come back after another successful international season. And she's just, again, now the unintended consequences, Alyssa Thomas is out for the year. So Bree Jones has really established herself as a center in this league that is really talented at both ends. She was the huge difference in the first Vegas game. We were able to establish her early and often. She made some big baskets off pocket passes at 12 to 15 feet. Through some of the stretch run was really the difference. And again, it's not been an easy early part of the season for her. She's played against Griner. She's played against Liz. This would be the second game against Liz. We're just returning from her having to play against Sylvia. It's just, it's great post player after great post player here early in the season that only builds your confidence when you have success. You can play against these Olympians, these world-class centers that the league has.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes media for today with Kurt. We will see you after the game.